Hey everybody, it's Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and in this video I'm going to talk about something that I did that I've never done before. I picked up a comic book collection, and this experience was a lot of fun. It was something I'd never done before. It was super exciting. I just wanted to share with you guys the experience, a little bit of me going to the comic book collection and picking it up, and then going over some of the key books that came from that collection. Also, we'll talk about what my plans are for doing this and why I did it. So this is actually a collection that I picked up from a friend. This is somebody that I've been friends with for a while. He goes to like UFC fights that I go to for the pay-per-view cards, and he's in my fantasy football league, and he has been for a long time. He was started out as a friend of a friend, but has become a friend as well. And his name is Jeremy. So I'll read you the first message I got that started this all, just out of the blue, was, "Hey man, I got a bunch of older comics, like late 90s and 2005-ish, I'm not doing anything with." I asked him if he was wanting to get rid of them, and he said, they're just sitting in boxes in my garage. If you want to come by sometime and check them out, they're in bags and boards, so they should be all good." So I asked him about how many he had, and he said he thinks he has 3 to 4 long boxes. Now, when I get to the house, I find out there actually is a lot more than 3 to 4 long boxes. We're looking at the equivalent of about 9 long boxes of comics. And here's where I want to cut to showing you my experience going and look at these. Now, I'll warn you, this is the first time I've ever done this. I tried to set up a camera so that I could show you the comics as I was seeing them. A lot of these shots aren't the best. Next time I'll do a better job of that now that I know what to expect and what I can bring with me to make that experience better if there is a next time. So I do apologize if the footage isn't clear, but however, I will be showing you up close all the really cool key comic books that I pulled out of this collection. Hey, what's up? It's Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd. I'm actually out going to meet a friend to look at his comic book collection he messaged me about. He just kind of hit me up and said, "Hey, I've got some comics in the garage. Would you want to take a look at them?" So I'm excited. I've never picked up a collection before, never really went and scouted one in the wild, but I'm going to go take a look at it, and hopefully we find some good things in there and have a cool conversation with a friend. Talk to you soon when I'm checking out the comics. All right, so we're going to start digging through the first box here at Jeremy's house. All the amalgam stuff. Yeah, well, it happens, man. I used to love all this Dark Horse Star Wars stuff. Kind of bums me out. I mean, they're bringing some of it back, but still. I always wanted to read some Transformers Armada. Cool. Wolvie, Cloak Dagger. Oh, nice, yeah. Guardians.
That's the old Guardians too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
before no one cared about them back then. All the chromium and foil covers. X-Men, Bishop, Ghost Rider, Thor. Oh yeah, Thor's awesome. I kind of hope they.
Or I wanted to.
Yeah, I kind of hope they redo some of the MCU stuff with Thor.
Yeah.
I feel like it could be better. It started out pretty good, but that last movie sucked. Get some trades. All right, checking out another short box. Backwards, of course. Got some Marvel Zombies, Punisher, Garth Ennis run. I never read that. I should.
Which one?
The Punisher Garth Ennis stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Max.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I think one of the movies was based on that. Oh,
Yeah, maybe it was Warzone, I think.
Yeah, Warzone. Yeah.
Got a Fantastic Four. Cable Deadpool. Okay, yeah, this stuff's definitely more organized.
Yeah.
Friendly Neighborhood Spidey. X-Men. Excalibur. Got some What If.
I always like those what ifs.
They're fun.
Yeah.
The TV show, I kind of hope that they do some different stuff. Like, it was all based on the MCU, which is cool. But I'd rather see some...
Like original stuff?
Like some of the comic stuff, yeah. Exactly. Let's see, we got some JSA, Infinite Crisis. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, this looks like it's from that same time period where your pull box would have been.
Anything that's not taped down, probably.
Cool.
I'll show you some older stuff in there.
Yeah.
Those boxes are a lot older.
Oh yeah, this looks like some Flash, Green Lantern from the 90s. Hey, kitty. Batman, Lex Luthor, Superman, Batman. I like the Return of Supergirl stuff. That was really fun. Firestorm. JSA. Daniel, your brother?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, love Angela. Ruins. Darkness. Curse of Spawn. I was a massive Gen 13 fan. Got all those. Sure. Spawn. You got a signed Scorpion book there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the X-Men gold foil. Superman. Indie. Marvel Tales. Cool stuff in here. Check that out.
That written stuff.
I love it. This kind of stuff you see like on my baseball card
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a USB cable. First time's never the right way.
Right? It's always...
Oh, there's a, talking about booty covers, there's a booty cover.
Oh, Shadowhawk. He's a dude, too.
Yeah. Rare.
Bone conflict, huh?
Yeah. 7th printing.
Oh.
I mean, I don't. That might still be worth something, but the first printing is worth a lot. Kind of fix these. Don't want to damage them just looking at them. That's cool. Gaiman, Ghost Rider. I've got that. Magneto. Stormwatch. I've got that signed by Philip Norwood. I love the Predator stuff. Wild Thing. Quest. Seems like every antique store I go to, they have an Elf Quest comic. Toxic Avenger from the Marvel. Archie. Terminator. Oh yeah, Starbrand. Wave Dancers, interesting. Batman 500, Pit. All the Midnight Suns, An Executioner Song, Wedding in the Fantastic Four, Brigade, Death Maid. Beavis and Butthead. That's awesome. Avengers West Coast. New Mutants Infinity War. Tech World, Ghost Rider. Foil.
All that foil stuff, and sometimes it's just like they did it so people would buy them, and they're not really worth anything. But
Very rarely.
Yeah.
And Stimpy and Spider-Man, that's cool. Not even getting it. RoboCop, Terminator. I pull every time I go to any place that sells comics. There's always one of those there.
Yeah.
Defenders, Doom. Nice. This is the first comic book I ever bought on a comic rack, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because X-Men the Animated Series was out, and
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, oh, Wolverine's cool. There you go. Weapon X. So, as you can kind of tell from the footage, maybe a little bit, here's what we were looking at. Jeremy was a reader, absolutely a reader, not like a comic book collector that was trying to collect for value or anything like that. So there's a lot of stuff here from the time frame he talked about. In fact, there's really nothing earlier than 1990 that I've been able to find. Maybe like a few comics here and there, nothing really crazy. And by a few, I literally mean like probably less than 10. Pretty much everything else is from 1990 to, you know, the late 2000 aughts or whatever you want to call them. Okay, but I know what everybody's thinking. They want to see the comic books I picked up in this collection. So I'll start with by far the biggest book I picked out of the collection. And here's what happened. I took this collection in my storage unit to kind of start going through things. I just didn't have the time, and I was worried about how I was going to get all these comics, you know, to my house or my storage unit. I had to fit a lot of it in a Honda Civic. And I was trying to figure out, you know, what I was going to do there. So I didn't see a lot of the stuff in the collection. I didn't see about half of it. And one of the things I told Jeremy is like, hey, if I go back and I find something crazy cool, I'll make sure to let you know. So we kind of have that kind of agreement going on here. But he, you know, by and large, he wanted me just to have the comic books. And I think we were both fine with the deal. And he knows about the next book I'm about to show you. So this one, I found one mega key book in this collection. And it's one that I've wanted for a very long time. And I never thought I would own, because I think the value of this comic book is so high, I'm not going to buy it at the price it's at right now. The comic book in question is the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano, Star Wars Clone Wars #1. Now, as it is, the spine, and there's creases, it needs a very good press. But there's only about one color breaking spine tick I can see on there. And it might still get like a 9.6 or something. I'm definitely gonna get this one graded just to have it encapsulate. I think that'd be really cool. It'd look really good next to my Kitty Sackhoff Bo-Katan up there. As my wife pointed out, that's a really good observation she had. So I think I'd like to do that. Probably the next biggest book I pulled out is the first appearance of Spider-Man Noir. And I have this whole run as part of that. I also have the whole Clone Wars run, so I have, well, most of it. I have 2 through 10. So that's her second appearance in comic books, and in #2 as well, plus a great cover for, I think it's #5. But it's a cool series. There's a lot of good keys in that run. I have all the Spider-Man Noir 1 through 4 and the was it Eyes Without a Face miniseries as well. So that's pretty cool. I did get Marvel Zombies, which is cool. I had Marvel Zombies. I had like a third printing of this when I sold my collection. It's nice to get these back in the collection. Now, if you follow my Instagram, you probably saw me post these up, as well as the Spider-Man Noir, the kind of little teaser of what's going on here. I got these as well as ASM 609, but these are the J. Scott Campbell covers. 609 isn't quite as desirable, but I got both of those, and those are in pretty high grade, so that's really nice. First appearance of General Grievous in a free comic book day. That's pretty cool. A lot of Star Wars stuff. There was a lot of Dark Horse Star Wars stuff too, especially. First Blade in his own series. That's in a high grade. Normally I wouldn't show this book off as being a key, but there was 2 of these. One of these was a beat up direct, and this one's in really good shape, and it's a newsstand, so I think that is pretty cool. I had the whole Merc with a Mouth series 1 through 10 included with this, with all the Sidem covers, Arthur Sidem covers, and this is the first appearance of Lady Deadpool. That's pretty cool. With Blue Beetle just coming out, this is an interesting one. I got all the Infinite Crisis books that are in this, including a high grade copy of the first appearance of Jaime Reyes as the Blue Beetle, plus his first appearance in comic books. And this one, oh, I wish this was in a better shape, because this would have been amazing. This is the first appearance of Scarlet Spider. It's a newsstand too, but unfortunately, it does have significant cover damage on it that could, you know, probably be okay cleaned up, but getting that in newsstand, I thought that was really cool. It's still cool to have it in the collection, just unfortunately not in high grade. So this was kind of interesting. Got 2 of the Lionsgate ASM 129s. Unfortunately, neither of these are in super high grade either, but I did get a couple cool Venom keys with the first Long Tongue and the awesome homage cover there as well. But like this one, for example, you can see there's a big crease that runs all the way across the cover, that kind of stuff. So again, not super high grade. Got a couple of these as well. There were just an interesting few doubles in there. I think some of this was his brother's collection, so that was probably why there's some doubles, including a couple of Beavis and Buttheads. He had a good chunk of the early part of this Black Panther series, including the first, that's the Lashley cover for the first cover appearance, and then the first appearance inside the comic of Shuri as Black Panther. So the one that absolutely made my heart stop for a second when I was looking through the comic book boxes is this comic right here, and then I saw that it was a later printing. But Bone #1, you know, had hoped for it to be a first printing. I believe this is the 7th printing, so it's still neat, but not as valuable. Pretty much the entire run of Cable versus Deadpool, so you got the first one, and then the first meetup of Spider-Man and Deadpool 2. Just for collector reasons, I was excited to get the run of Gotham City Sirens. Absolutely love the artwork on those covers, especially. And then I got another copy of the first appearance of the Red She-Hulk. Got a few books that were hot recently, including a high-grade copy of Ruins #1. Also Secret Invasion #1. And everybody's favorite character, Spider-Boy. With it having a lot of stuff from the 90s, of course I had to get one of these, Venom Lethal Protector. That's actually in really good shape, too. And then Wonder Man #1, not a huge key. World War Hulk #5. And I got a couple different X-23 #1s as well. A lot of the books that you might look for in a collection from that era, New Mutants '98, Batman Adventures 12, weren't there. And he had New Mutants comics around that number. He had Batman Adventures comics around that number, but he just didn't have those issues. None of the other mega keys like Ultimate Fallout 4 or Edge of Spider-Verse 2 for first Miles Morales or first Ghost Spider. No super high crazy ratio variants or anything like that. There were some interesting newsstand editions in this collection, so that's pretty cool. There were also several DC Universe books from Superman, Action Comics, Man of Steel. None of them keys are really valuable, but that was also kind of neat to see. A lot of things in this collection were not bagged and boarded. Actually, just a handful, like considering the entirety of the collection. But a lot of it wasn't boarded. So you do have a lot of bent spines and a lot of things that would have been nice if they had been in that high 9.8 potential. However, some of the things were bagged and boarded, and they were some of the nicer comics. So it kind of worked out in the end. But unfortunately, like a few things, like a Spider-Man 1 from the early 90s, it'd be good in high condition. It's more of in like a high mid-grade kind of a situation. And I still have a ton to go through. I think I've seen pretty much every comic book in the collection at this point. But there's a lot because all of them are so random, and I know a lot of them are consecutive issues. There's going to be like an entire run of Garth Ennis's Punisher, for example. Deadpool Merc with a Mouth, a lot of the JSA stuff, like with the Alex Ross covers where he did the black background portraits of each JSA member. Superman, Batman, there's a lot of the Blackest Night stuff there. In fact, I think it might be almost everything in Blackest Night. All the amalgam books, a couple of the crossovers between DC and Marvel. So a lot of really interesting stuff, and a lot of Thor, a lot of Fantastic Four from certain parts of runs. And so what I can do is I can start to organize those and put those together, and then maybe see if I can find collectors that are looking for those particular chunks of those runs. So that kind of brings me to what am I going to do with this collection? So I bought way more comic books than I expected, but it all worked out. I think both he and I are happy. He was happy I found the Clone Wars comic book. He thought it was really cool, so I let him know about that one, of course. So it brings me to a part of what I'm going to do with this. Now, some of these books are definitely for me, like the Clone Wars, for example. That's just for me. And I got some G.I. Joe. I got some of my Uncanny X-Men run taken care of from this as well. And there's going to be things that I go through that I'm going to want based on cover or based on the series and wanting to read it that I'll probably hold on to as I kind of dig through everything. But I am looking to make my money back on the collection and what I purchased. So some of the stuff will just be sold to make my money back and hopefully increase some profits to maybe cover grading costs for some of these books if I want to get them graded, that sort of thing. But the final part of the puzzle there is Jeremy and his brother that some of these comic books came from were both veterans. And that is something that I definitely wanted to talk to him about, because one of the things that's going to happen with a lot of these books is they're going to go into my Heroes for Heroes auctions on Veterans Day, which is 11/11. It's going to take place at 4 p.m. Pacific here on the Bronze Age Nerd YouTube channel, and you're going to get a chance to win some of the comic books. Some of the really cool stuff I'll hold on to. Some of the really cool stuff I'll auction off. Some of it I'll get graded and sell to make back the money from the collection. But I'll also give out free comic books on Halloween to some kids. And I'll give out free comic books randomly to people that win on the auction too. I'll probably do a free comic book for everybody actually that wins, which is something I like to do. Oh, and speaking of giving out stuff for winners, another thing I usually like to do in my auctions is give out cards with each win. And he had a whole box of the McFarlane Spider-Man cards. Those are the prisms I pulled out of there. So that's going to be something that is just going to be fun for people. And the other thing too is there were a lot of trade paperbacks in this collection. So one of the things we did is we went through and pulled out all the ones we could find. I missed a few and I've pulled those aside since then. And I'm going to give those back to Jeremy so that he can read them, because that's how he enjoys reading comic books more now. Plus his kids can read them someday if they want to. So that'll be really cool. So this has been an absolutely amazing adventure, and it's not over for me yet. I actually have a lot of work to do. I've been rebagging and boarding and cataloging things for the last few days, and I have a ton more of that to do in the future, plus all the submissions and all that kind of stuff that's going to come from this. So it's going to be a really wild ride that I'm definitely excited to kind of share as we go along the way. I really want to say I appreciate Jeremy for having me over, for hitting me up about this, for having such a cool, idea in mind, a way to get rid of them. They've just been sitting for a long time for him, and at this point they were just taking up space. and he wanted to move on to his other interests like video game collecting, for example. So it's going to be really cool to use some of these comic books to help out veterans like Jeremy and his brother for Heroes, and to kind of move along with the project in different ways. And so I think that a really positive thing came out of this in the end. So as we wrap up the video, I definitely want to thank all my channel members as well. It's their kind of support that enables me to do these kinds of things, which is awesome. And I can't say enough that I appreciate that. So thank you for your support. Also, in addition to that, I just want to remind everybody that I do have that charity auction coming up on November 11th. Heroes for Heroes 2023 will be taking place at 4 p.m. Pacific here on my YouTube channel. So you guys can get a chance to win some original art, some signed comic books from comic book creators, some signed prints from comic book artists and creators, as well as a lot of really cool comic books. So definitely tune in for that. I can't wait to raise some money for Mission 22. 100% of the proceeds from that auction are going to Mission 22, and I think it's going to be really awesome. I can't wait to crush last year's donation amount. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I just want to remind you, as always, hey, 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 hey. Read comics every day.